Hello everyone. In this video I'm just going to go ahead and show you um, a little bit about my final project that I thought might be interesting for you all to take a look at. So I did a room based on some of my favorite video games such as Resident Evil, The Evil Within, BioShock, Silent Hill, Dead Space, games like that. Um, so that sort of survival horror series is what I was aiming for. And I just included objects that I thought might be in a room, in an interior room, in a setting like that. So I did a few different objects here. I've got 6 objects altogether. My nightstand is 1, my skull is 2, the bed is 3, the IV stand is 4, the toilet bowl 5, and then the walls and the floor count as 1, so that's my 6 objects for my scene. Be sure if you're going to when you take a screenshot of your scene with wireframe on shaded on, this is part of the requirement, so make sure you take a look at that, and then you'll see my different objects. So I can go ahead and click on them and show you my floor. I have a little vent over here also. You can't see it well in the current lighting. And be sure to press 7 on your keyboard. So if I press 6, this is going to bring me back to sort of this default lighting. And when I press 7 with my lights in here, you can see I have a bunch of different lights highlighted. 1, 2, there's one back here, 3. And then I have an area light, 4. So I have 4 lights altogether. You can use as many as you need to, but have a minimum of 3. And in my particular scene, I needed to increase the lighting quite a bit. So if I go into here, I have my intensity set up to 7,500 for my area light. And these are like 500 at least a piece, give or take somewhere in there. So my nightstand, back to my objects in my scene, my nightstand, I've got the vent, the floor, the IV stand, the hospital bed, this I don't need, I don't believe. Okay. My skull group, which is the skull. It's 3 different objects in there. Is the skull, and then the top teeth and lower teeth are both separate objects. The toilet bowl I've got in here, and then obviously the walls. So that's all of my objects in my scene. And when you're ready to either A, render, if your PC seems to be running a little slow and you'd rather just take a screenshot, just tap 7 on your keyboard. Always press 6 first and then 7, and then make sure you take a screenshot of your wireframe on shaded, and obviously one with your wireframe on shaded off. So once you're done with that, and then make sure every material in your scene is an AI standard surface. So I've got an AI standard surface on all of my objects, AI standard surface, and you can go ahead and just make sure you take care of that as well. Now, the last thing I want to show you is in Photoshop, I've taken a render, I've taken a screenshot. So here's my wireframe on shaded screenshot, and then from the same exact angle, I've got my render here. And I did a little compositing on here. It's not much. I felt like it was pretty good to begin with, but I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. It was just a little dark for my render, so I thought adding some highlights on there could really help. And if I wanted to, I could always do a little bit more. If I go into image, adjustments, brightness, contrast, and let's just say I start to bring up the brightness so you can see a lot more, maybe adjust the contrast, so I could really get quite a variation in range of how I want this to look. But I feel like this is pretty good for now. So here's my final render, and then obviously my wireframe on shaded. So for your submission, make sure that every object, you have 6 objects in your scene, so do not continue from the midterm, create a brand new room. Each object is worth 10 points each. All objects have a diffuse map, 10 points each. All objects have normal map, 10 points. each. All objects have a specular map, 10 points each. And then submit a zipped folder with all of your files in there. So your diffuse textures, your normal textures, your specular textures, your Maya scene, and your screenshots / renders are in there. And then make sure you include at least 3 lights in your scene. And make sure your models have good topology. I will be grading you on topology, so make sure that you've got all quads and triangles. If you notice here, all of these are quads that I can see at this point anyway. Even in here, so make sure they're all quads and triangles. And yeah, that's really all I have for at least the showing you an example of what a final could look like. So just do your best. It doesn't need to be perfect. And yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, go ahead and message me. All right. Thanks for watching.